Erwin McManus is quoted as saying, "We are all born creative geniuses, but by the age of 12, it is beaten out of us. We learn to conform. We standardize. 95% of children are naturally divergent in their thinking. You give them one problem, and they will give you 100 ways to solve it." By the age of 12, only 5% of children remain divergent thinkers. The Reggio Emilia approach encourages children to be lifelong divergent thinkers. Reggio Emilia is a city located in northern Italy. While the city is rich with architecture and history dating all the way back to the 16th and 17th century, it is most famous for its global influence on early childhood development. Early childhood development is a study that is both inspiring and challenging, especially in the U.S. While being taught developmentally correct ways to interact with children in the classroom, you are warned that once you exit the classroom and enter the field, you will no longer be able to implement what you have learned. With standardized testing taking place at such a young age in schools, parents are trying to keep up with the demands of school before their child has even reached preschool. Dramatic play, art station, and recess times are being replaced with memorization, sound recognition, and sight words. However, this is not the case in Reggio Emilia, Italy. Reggio Emilia is the birthplace of one of the most innovative and highly sought-after teaching approaches in the world. As noted by Valerie Hewitt in the article examining the Reggio Emilia approach to early childhood education, the origins of the Reggio Emilia approach date back to 1945. At the end of the Second War, a moment when the nation desired to bring change and create a better world for themselves, the men and women were encouraged to create schools for their children with their own hands. As part of the post-war reconstruction, the first school was built literally by the hands of the parents. They sold war tanks, trucks, and horses that had been left behind by retreating Germans. The North American Reggio Emilia Alliance describes the town as having a long history of cooperative work being done, including agriculture, processing, and unions. The same tradition of community was used when developing schools, not only in the physical building of the schools, but also with the parents and teachers working together to keep them running. In the late 1950s and 60s, an organized association of teachers and educators worked together with the goal of innovative education. What they came up with is what we now refer to as a Reggio Emilia approach. In the words of Malaguise, the child should be beheld as beautiful, powerful, competent, creative, and full of potential and ambitious desires. The critical belief that every child has a right to learn and doesn't just need to learn is a foundation of what the Reggio Emilia approach is built upon. In this approach, the children are the researchers, and the teachers are just the tool that create an environment to promote exploring and creativity while in the classroom. With this approach utilized, children now take the role of explorer and creator. It is important to note that while the children are given the lead on what they could be interested in learning about, specific skills and understanding are not neglected. They are just taught in an untraditional way. The Reggio Emilia approach creates learners who love to learn, not just children who have been forced to memorize. The approach has been around since 1945, and it is still used in the world today. As noted by the National Reggio Emilia Alliance, it is impossible to compare the Reggio Emilia approach with other approaches, simply because each country has different forms of success. However, the Reggio Emilia approach is the oldest approach to still be utilized in the classroom today. Any teaching approach that encourages children to love learning, creating, and exploring, and not memorize and recite, by most any early childhood development professional is considered most successful. Reggio Emilia is a city that put itself on the map, not only for its rich history and architecture, but more so for its contribution to the early childhood field that is now practiced around the world today.